guys. So today we will start our 5 themes of geography lecture. This will go with your basic geography notes, and you will be having a test on Thursday. Tomorrow we will be doing a latitude, longitude activity, and we'll start preparing for the test. You will be getting a study guide to help you study, and then Wednesday we will just be reviewing for your test. So, as we did with the last one, I would like for you to use the Pear Deck version of this, which I will link to the Google Classroom date. Pause, take notes, make sure you fill them in. If there's something you don't get, email me and I will help you get the information. I want you to have everything so that you are ready for the test and are going to do great. So let's get started. Today it's the 5 themes of geography, which we've studied before through APEX. Let's see. All right. The first one is location, which is a particular place or position. Again, I would like for you to pause and take notes once you've got them all down, then continue forward. So location is split up into absolute and relative. So our absolute location is a precise absolute point on Earth. And this can be our latitude or longitude, or when we are searching for a place, it can be like a street address, right? So it is a precise absolute point. Relative, on the other hand, is a location of one place in relation to another. So this can be like east or west of something, or we tend to use relative location when we're giving directions to a friend or when we're getting directions from someone else. So it will be in relation to something else and not an absolute point. Remember, absolute point is your absolute location. Your relative location is how it relates to another point or location. So in your own words, on your Pear Deck, I want you to describe absolute and relative location. So pause this, go do it, and then come back. So there's lots of issues with location, and the main one is that maps stink, just to put it nicely. So maps tend to be distorted. So a change in the shape, size, or position of a place when it is shown on a map. We know from our study in APEX that there is no precise way to take a 3D map or a globe and turn it into a 2D projection, right? There's going to be some sort of distortion no matter what. So a map projection is showing the Earth as a flat 2D surface in order to show more detail. And when we do that, it will be distorted, right? No matter what kind of map that we have, it will always have some sort of distortion because there is no perfect projection. Whew, such a hard word. So here are some different projections. We have the Mercator, if you remember, was used for navigation. This is one that kind of looks true to what the world looks like now, but even this still has some distortion to it. The Gall-Peters projection, it looks really funny. All of our continents are elongated. The Miller cylindrical projection, look how large Antarctica is, right? It's really not that big in real life. And then there's just some other different projections. We have the Mollyweed, the Good Homolocene equal area projection, the sinusoidal, and then, of course, we have the Robinson. The Robinson and the Mercator are frequently used or have frequently been used during map making. Over here, we have the Equal Earth Project and our dots. So remember when we were working through APEX, how some of our maps had dots on them, right? And this is just to help keep the continents in relative size. And this is just to show the size of them on the map and to help with spacing. So some maps, our dots will be larger as they are up here, or they may be smaller, just meaning that the map is more distorted. Here's just another example of how taking a round object and trying to make it flat can make it distorted. Look at our kid's face. He was great right here where it was round, and then when we tried to make it flat, it was distorted. And the same is true of the map down here. See how Canada is much more round and true to what it looks like in real life, whereas here it is much bigger because we've had to make it flat. So if you haven't, pause, watch this. It's a great video, Why Maps Are Wrong. I really like it. I think it's interesting. So pause, watch it, and come back. In your own words, why do maps stink? I want you to do this on the Pear Deck version of the presentation. Once you're done, come back and continue this video because we will be moving on to our second theme. All right, I lied. It's really been a long day, you guys. So these are our terms that will show up on your test. So it's super important that you know what each of them means. I want you to pause. I'm going to go through these, but before I go through them, I want you to pause and attempt to go through them on your own, just to see where you are and to see if you can get the right answers. So our compass rose indicates directions on our map. So this will be number 5. Our cardinal directions are north, east, south, and west. Our intermediate directions are northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. The legend or our key are symbols used on a map identified in a box. The map grid is a system of imaginary lines to divide space on maps. And the scale is how distance on a map compares to actual distance in real life. How many did you get? Did you get them all? It's super important to know these because they are going to show up on your test. Place is our second theme, so it is an area defined by everything in it. So place helps geographers compare and contrast two places on Earth, and it can be defined by many things, including plants, animals, physical characteristics, weather, and the language spoken there. So again, go back to your Pear Deck. I want you to compare and contrast the place of Antarctica and the Sahara Desert in Africa. Once you're done, come back. Movement is our third theme. And it is the translocation of human beings, their goods, their culture, and their ideas. There are many aspects to movement. We have migration, which is moving regions. We have immigration and immigration. So there is an I immigration and an E immigration. And the best way to remember these is that immigration with an I is moving into a new region. So moving in, I for in, and immigration with an E is leaving a region or exiting. So if you're exiting, you're immigrating out and leaving your region. So cultural diffusion and globalization is the spread of ideas, values, and language across the world. So some languages that have spread across the world are Spanish, French, English, Mandarin, all forms of Chinese, Japanese. There's so many languages that have moved all over the world and that millions of people can now speak, thanks to movement. Region is our fourth theme, and it is area that is composed of places with unifying characteristics. So regions are split into formal and functional. Formal regions are those that have defined boundaries, such as cities, school districts, or countries. Functional, on the other hand, are areas with less defined boundaries, but still similar and well-connected. So these are your suburbs, the South, the Middle East, the Northwest, the New England, places like that. So these are less defined, but they still have similarities, whereas your formal have boundaries. So what is an example of a region? Jump back to your Pear Deck and then come back. And the last theme is human-environment interaction, which is the relationship between people and their environment. So HEI, or human-environment interaction, encompasses dependency, or how do people react in their environment, adaptation, how do people adapt to their environment, and modification, how do people change their environment. Dependency, an example of this can be the monsoons in India. So how might people react positively to the monsoons, or how might they react negatively? Brainstorm, think about it, and then move forward. Adaptation, what do you do when it's hot? You turn on the air conditioner, right? You turn on a fan, you go to the pool. But what do you do when it's cold? You bundle up, you turn on the heat. This is how we adapt to the environment around us. And modification, how do we change the environment? This is things as deforestation or mountaintop removal or clearing land to build suburbs or cities or towns or using air conditioners when it's too hot. Things like that help us modify our environment and make it more sustainable for us to live. So give an example of each type of human environment interaction: dependency, adaptation, and modification. Jump back over to your Pear Deck and answer these questions. So that's it for this lesson. It was really short. It was really sweet. Make sure that you have gotten your notes. If you haven't gotten any of them, backtrack. If you still can't find them, contact me. Tomorrow we will be working on an activity, like I said, and you will be getting your study guide for your test. You're going to do great. So let me know if you need anything or if you have any questions at all.